There's an interview I've seen with Werner Herzog where he uses the phrase adequate images. By this, he means something like images of purity, of clarity, images that push humanity forward. I have to confess that I don't fully grasp his idea. He's a very strange person and sometimes very difficult to understand. Nevertheless, I find the language of the phrase adequate images to be very compelling. In contemplating these words, I have come up with a new phrase, adequate illustration. The adequate illustration is an image, be that static or dynamic, which is able to convey a thing in its entirety. There's the old saying that a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, a second of video contains 24 pictures. Pictures are able to communicate differently than language. Language always proceeds in linear fashion, one word followed by the other, while an image presents a great many concepts at once. In addition, the image, the video, is able to convey instantly relationships between those objects. This painting is part of a three-part series called The Garden of Earthly Delights by Hieronymus Bosch. If I were to attempt to narrate this image, I could spend hours simply cataloging its contents. This cataloging would be wholly inadequate. It would provide no clear indication of the relationships between the contents. The catalog would be so lengthy that you would be unable to maintain any of the contents in your mind. You would be left with no impression whatsoever besides overstimulation. This image is able to quickly and efficiently convey what words cannot. And this is the power of the illustration. This illustration of people descending a mountain is able to adequately convey the experience of descending a mountain by showing us feet placed carefully on wet rocks and people looking to the ground. You understand intuitively the experience presented. The properties of the illustration, I believe, make it uniquely well suited to historical education. This painting is called The Raft of the Medusa. I've shown it previously in one of my videos. I would like to hold this up as the prime example of the adequate illustration. It is a wonderful painting because it is able to capture the entirety of the experience of the real-life Raft of the Medusa in a single image. Everything important, the plight, the emotional experience, the psychology is here. All that is omitted are unimportant details like names and dates. This image is adequate in that it conveys everything necessary for an impression of the event. In writing scripts for my videos, I'm often intensely frustrated by the inadequacies of language. Many paragraphs go through multiple iterations before arriving at an acceptable compromise, but an acceptable compromise is a compromise nonetheless. I am always hyper-aware of the many things that I'm failing to communicate adequately. I think that the illustration, particularly those approaching adequacy, are to be celebrated. Thank you for listening.